Right, so after messing up my espresso shot 500 times, I got that together and a couple iFixit bits, and we started work on this nonsense. All the respectable hardware and whatnot, but in reality, this is basically a test bench. At the end of all this, I am going to run some benchmarks, and after said benchmarks, I do want to build a nice wooden PC case for this. Thinking of having metal accents or possibly glass, but I'll have to see how it comes out. The nice thing about an open case like this is you're kind of accepting, the cyberpunky look anyway, and you will never have problems with airflow. You actually will be mind blown as to how amazing your temperatures will be. Almost makes you not want to actually have a case. So now for the motherboard. Kind of was just checking fitment here, but luckily it all came out as expected. I wouldn't call it a case, but these open frame chassis are relatively cheap, and those triangular support brackets might have to be adjusted for your lower plate to actually match up with your IO plate, but it worked out. These CPU reinforcement plates are actually really amazing, and as others have mentioned, they do actually reduce your CPU temperature. In my case, it was almost 6 degrees Celsius, and I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that it's preventing the actual motherboard from flexing, so you don't have a bowl shape basically that your water block or heatsink is trying to mount to. So I went ahead and put this on. Super cheap. You can find them on AliExpress for like $5 or get it for, $15 or $10 on Newegg. As with most mounting hardware, you want to make sure you cross tighten these bolts, evenly distribute the load, and slowly go around tightening them. Anyway, enough of that. Basically, I decided I'm going to put some edge trim on here and kind of clean up the bare metal edge. Also, it gives it kind of rubber feet, essentially. Came out pretty nice. And over here, I'm going and taking off the plates for the first M.2 drive. Installing that. And then the secondary one. Which I feel, given the size of that heat plate, it should have been for the primary, but distance to CPU is important. Next, I went ahead and fitted the power supply just so I could see how everything sits and how and where I'm going to route the cabling. Realistically, though, there's nowhere to really hide the wiring, so it will basically be bundled in the right side GPU went in. I went ahead and started with the main 24-pin ATX power connector. Then the 12-volt auxiliary power for the CPU. As you can see, the length's pretty long. Realistically, I could probably make braided cables, but for the time being, this will work. Next, the PCI Express power connectors. Glorious 5-star cable management right here. And after this, I went ahead and got the Deep Cool 360 millimeter all-in-one ready. Pre-applied thermal paste on the water block. I decided to go ahead and use that. Went ahead and started prepping the LGA 1700 adapters. It is a nice unit, and it actually cools very well. It was reasonably priced. And this is the amazing moment where I find out I have to remove the entire board again. So I went ahead and did this as quick as I could. Mostly off camera. And I do have very good control over my Milwaukee drill. It's also in a low torque setting, so don't worry. Now I went ahead and tested fitment for the radiator. Went ahead and installed the water pump and water block combo. Evenly tighten in a cross pattern. So what I was going for here is trying to mount the radiator to the bottom of the plate that holds the motherboard, and those holes are there, and they almost fit the 120 millimeter fan holes, but they don't. So I went ahead and got a piece of tape, basically laid it up on there and marked the holes, then transferred it over, made the respectable holes in the actual plate itself. Yes, in theory you should remove all electronics, etc., but been fabricating for a while, and this is okay. It's my risk, my build. And now they fit perfectly. got 5 screws holding the radiator to the plate. Some more rubber feet. Went ahead and installed the fans here. Here I basically decided to go ahead and run the wires underneath everything. Given the current layout, it is kind of a nightmare to manage this many fan headers. But once this goes into a slightly larger case, I'll be able to clean it up. Next, I went ahead and decided to install the RAM just to see how everything fits.